Now, we have something for you, because this year we are married 25 years. Yes, yes. And we sat together and we just started talking and had brainstorming. What did we learn in 25 years? And it's actually a lot. And we have 10 best tips, and we have them for you.
For me, it's an absolute miracle that I'm here, still married after 25 years. And, we got to know each other, we got to know the faith. I used to think I would never marry my whole life. Frauke noticed fairly quickly she wanted to marry me, but, back then I didn't want a theory. Back when I was 19, I thought with 30, life is over. I thought that life would be better when you get older. So I didn't really want to get married. And Frauke was frustrated because she thought I was the right one. And then she spent time with God. And he did something with her. So she said, okay, just tell me if he's the right one. I'm just going to open the Bible. And she randomly opened the Bible, asking God to show her something. And she just pointed with a finger somewhere. You shouldn't really do this. It's not... There's a great teaching from ICF Munich how to, God speaks, but she does that. She points her finger to the Bible, random, and of all the verse, and of all the verses, about it said what God has put together, the two should not be put separated. And then, and she came to me and I said, it's not good to have a marriage prophecy like that. And she said, honey, God showed me we're going to marry. And I thought, yeah, well, he's got to show me too. So it's an absolute miracle that the two of us are next to each other today. So we're the living evidence that it's possible with God's help. Yes, with the help of God. When I was, I was brand new, so I was just saved, and I started reading the Bible. What is marriage? What is relationship? What is family? And it's been such an adventure to search God in His Word to find what He wants to say, what His answers are, and what His solutions are, and what His ideas are about marriage.
And that's why the first point we have for you today, yes, with God's help, almost every couple has to make that decision in front of the altar. One can be easily overpowered, but two are equal to the attack in Ecclesiastes 4. And as the saying goes, a rope made of 3 strings doesn't break so quickly. And we realize it's one of the most important steps and decision, yes, with God's help, every day in your day-to-day life to actually do it and use it. And there are hundreds of examples, 1,000 of examples we could tell you, whether it was on vacation, where we excited about the vacation, and on the first day our money was stolen from our room. It was a catastrophe. Just to stick together, yes, we need God's help, that we don't lose ourselves in a fight. What we told you yesterday, the example, Toby as a handyman, and there are so many examples you will see through the other points when we tell you how important it is to use God's help.
It's important for the two of us to find our mutual relationship, to invest into it. In our relationship, often enough, the impulses come from my wife. Sometimes, people are upset because the one partner has more ideas than the other. And actually, it's not a problem. She has the ideas, and it's my job to execute them. She comes up with ideas. Let's do communion. It wouldn't have been my idea, And then I say, okay, yeah, let's do it. And I want to learn to grow into this role.
Or to be, on purpose, sit down on the couch and start into the day with prayer, because then we know what the other one is, what's troubling him or what's important to the person. Or another idea is, sometimes if it's so frustrating and you can't pray, just to have a worship song by Spotify or somewhere, and then stand close to each other, and this song, to sing it together and proclaim it over the life.
Whether you can sing good or bad, God doesn't care. It's about worshiping Him together. So an example to the first point, you know, it's very actually easy to take serious biblical principles. So if you're angry, don't heap guilt on yourselves. So actually being angry isn't the problem yet. But you can heap guilt on yourself by remaining unforgiving. The emotions are in play, but they're not the problem. It's actually what you do with them. Don't let the sun go down on your anger without forgiving each other. You know, we have to take the principle seriously that God is our boss, and He gives us this rule, and then we want to go reconciled into bed.
The second part, which we have for you, is I choose to love. What do I mean by that? You could say I assume you mean the best, because I realized my tendency is very often, if I have an argument with Toby or if there are any circumstances, I always assume the worst. He doesn't like me, he actually wants to really fight with me, he's really bad, and he didn't do his washing and his laundry because he wants to annoy me, and all the other things. And I heard in a fight, if both are angry and loud, then it's a scream for love, for being accepted. Please hear me, please see me, and show me that I am important to you. And it helped me just simply to decide that he means well and he loves me. I believe you that you love me, and I believe you that you mean well for me. And I believe that you don't want to really destroy me and have a fight with me, and that you're not going to throw away me. And that decision was a very important principle for me, to assume the best, and I decide for love.
Third learning, we never stop learning. If you're here, maybe you have a basic attitude to learn, but you can never stop learning, especially in marriage and relationship. In Proverbs 24, listen to good advice and accept admonition so that you become a wise person in the end. We love to go and share with each other. And, you know, the marriage relationship between man and woman is the most complex thing ever. God took a lot of time to create the woman because she's so complex. And the most complex thing that exists, and so it's important to learn. That's what we do in many other areas of our lives. And we decided to have a culture in our family of authenticity. We look for situations where we spend the weekend with coaches. We spend the weekends with people who are, you know, role models. We've done seminars on communication. As leaders, you know, how to be a leader and take care of your marriage. You know, if there was a more experience for leaders, we would have gone there. You know, or read a book and share. You know, if there's a new podcast, our whole circle of friends is like that. They were constantly learning together. You know, when Frauke was younger, she would go to other families and be like an intern. Can I live there with my son? And she would spend time with other families just to learn how you do things. In German-speaking space, we're kind of strange. We want to learn about everything, but in regards to relationship between man and woman, we don't. We want to do it on our own. And then come to children, it really gets difficult. It's the most complex thing. Proverbs 1:5, even those who already have a lot of knowledge and experience can still learn something new.
Many years ago, I saw a woman on vacation. She was resting on a sun chair and reading a book, and I just read the title, and it's occupying my mind until today. Love yourself. It doesn't matter who you married. That was the title of the book. And I thought, wow, that's amazing. I never read the book, but it really resonated with me, the thought, the title. In the meantime, I believe it. It's a deep, godly secret. The more I love myself, the more I can love my partner. That's why the fourth point is self-love enables sincere love. In Matthew 22, it says, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. As yourself. Do you love yourself? How much do you love yourself? It's not about something with big words, but do you really like yourself? Do you actually like yourself? I had to walk a certain path. And God, you made me so complicated. You made me so weird. And I had so many points where I stumbled across myself, over myself. And I sometimes don't understand why I'm the way I am like that. Why is it like that with me? I didn't like things with me. And I realized I have to start. If I really want to meet Toby, if I really want to believe that he's loving me, if I want to love him, then I have to learn to love myself. And from my point of view, it's not possible without God's help. God created you and me, and He knows why you're the way you are. We are all so different in this room, at home, and at the locations. Just look to the left and to the right. We're all so different, and God made you exactly like He wanted you to be. And we have extra steps in ICF, how you can get to know yourself better, how you can love yourself better. We have offers, explore, get free, impact. I have the QR code for you. You can scan it. If this is troubling you, then how can I learn better to get me to know me better? Sorry. How can I accept myself, how God created me? Then please use this. Self-love makes you and me lovable.
Our date times are holy, they're taboo. They can't be interrupted. At the end of the day, we have the picture of a relationship account. If you have a marriage account, am I paying into that account or am I just extracting money? Are you paying in, physically, spiritually, intellectually? Most people are just waiting for the other person to give. But if you just pick up money from the account, the only one who could pick up money from an LinkedIn account is the government. But it doesn't work in a relationship.
I learned this from my parents. I grew up with it, basically, that there is a marriage evening, for a couple's evening, and it can't be, nothing can interrupt that, and it's in the calendar, and it will be honored. And we do it in the meantime like that we are responsible, vice versa, who creates the date, no matter whether it's in the mornings. Currently, it's more in the mornings because we can use the time like that. We're more fresh and we're free and more flexible to create it, and we're not so tired. And we're once he's responsible, once is me, I'm responsible. We have lists in my phone with what we can do. You can ask ChatGPT, what can I do with little money? What can we do with a lot of money? When it's raining, how can we have more fun in our marriage? We experience things together, and it's important that we have body, spirit, and heart together. Maybe if it's the baby spirit, once you have the baby at home, there is no time, no spirit for actually taking care. So then dress nice anyways, and that we have a budget that we can actually enjoy life, that we can go for a coffee. We take care of it, vice versa. The one who decides, the other one is joining in.
Complaining is not good in the Bible and also not in the marriage.
That's actually my topic, that I don't want to do what Toby wants to do. But then, yes, with God's help, please give me passion and ideas.
Yeah, just participate, My wife, she makes then alternative suggestions, and she'll say, somebody says, well, let's go walking in the rain. And then the other person will say, yes. And then you get upset in the protectionary area of the cross, and then you go walk in the rain. You can go
which means
T-shirts.
I realized it. I was with a friend of mine. I had an appointment with her, and I was really tired. But it was very important to me, and I drank an espresso that I was fresh. How do you do it in your marriage? I take care that I'm fresh and going fresh into
That's
the
why planning
time.
is such important. If it's my turn, what is good for us, for our soul, for our spirit, for our body? What can I do for her? You know, I could say, hey, well, let's just watch soccer and drink beer.
I would actually do that.
It's a dumb example because, yeah.
Das stimmt wirklich, ich sehe wer dabei. Okay, war ein sehr stereotypes Beispiel. Lass uns zum nächsten Punkt gehen. Unsere
And let's go to the next one.
Fußball ist keine Unterschiedlichkeit.
Football is no difference. We love it both.
And we know who's the best soccer club. But okay, let's go next topic. Our diversity, our differences are our gift. The reflex in us is that, you know, differences are stressy. And that's why it's so important to take God seriously. You know, you have to accept the fact that God did it very well, man and woman. My wife, as an example, my wife has a very special feeling, and for me, it's about having the right reasons. So my gift is listening to her feelings, her impressions, and she has to listen to me if I just have a reason. And that's our yearly verse this year. Check everything and keep the good. She's not allowed to put away my stupid thoughts, and I can't ignore her impressions, her feelings, you know. Whether it's a feeling or fact, it's about appreciating each other. My wife, she's very, you know, networked within her feelings, her thoughts and everything. You know, my synapses would be exploding by then, but hers are still running hot. Sometimes she needs a pause. Sometimes I notice I can help her to calm down and to cool down, because actually she doesn't want any tips, but I actually have good tips.
True.
But there, you know, that's where we complement each other. And for me, for example, sometimes I'm way too late in noticing, I'm feeling, you know, I could keep executing, going and going, and I don't even notice that the connection is gone. I have lost the connection in myself and to my wife. And I don't even notice that I don't have a connection to God anymore, because I'm just functioning in my role. I can keep going and execute. And before she feels it before I do. I go, what do we want? Well, no, everything's fine. Everything's fine. And then I notice that this diversity is a benefit. It helps me. It helps me. My wife. I notice when my wife, she touches me. My body is the only thing that's in the here and now, and therefore I have to let her, you know, touch me, because then it brings me back to the here and now. You're just acting like a robot again.
Ja, wollte ich gerade sagen.
I feel like a
I
big
just wanted
robot,
to say
but she
it.
thinks I'm a small robot. You know, to take that as a gift as well, and to enjoy that.
One for me, a very, very important point is number 7. I'll let you be who you are and cheer you on. What is meant by that? The 7th point, it has 2 facets. I'll let you be who you are means I give you freedom to decide in a way you think it's correct and how you are. I let you be this impossible as you are or as you want to be, even if I think that things are impossible. For example, how much Nutella he has on
Now, I
his
have to say
bread
something
and how
about
much
that. Wait a
salami he
second,
has on
wait a
his
second.
bread.
That example made it into the book Bam. She's observing that very well. Yesterday morning, I was sitting across from my father-in-law. I noticed your family culture again. I watched my father-in-law, the way he put butter on toast. If he had had a shovel instead of a knife, he might have done that, to make sure that every little pore was covered with butter. I didn't even find the marmalade on the bread. I said, what happened to the marmalade, the jelly? My father used to take, you know, pieces of butter, thick slices, and just put them on the bread. And I said, there's got to be a compromise there somewhere, you know. It's not just with a, you know, he doesn't have to take a knife, he can also use a shovel.
And just to show you, Christmas time, not long ago, I baked really nice cookies, and we were together with a couple going along, and we had a cup of coffee and ate these cookies, 4 pieces, because we were 4 people, this couple and the 2 of us. Okay, Toby takes the first cookie. I was aware that he's going to take the first.
That's appreciation for your cooking, for your baking.
Point for you. Then the woman took the second one. Then I took the third one. And then Toby took the fourth one.
Und ich habe mir gedacht, Junge,
No, I thought I picked 4 because we're 4 of us. And the poor husband, he didn't have the chance to take one. And normally, back then, I
so gegen Schienbein,
would have kicked him underneath the
That is
table.
not a metaphor.
Not that he
den halben angebissenen Keks wieder
that he would have placed the half-eaten cookie back, or I don't know. I would have said something, or I would have been so upset about. But this time, I thought, okay, with God's help, and I decide
ich entscheide mich, dich so sein
to let you be who you are. It's your decision. I looked at you briefly.
und,
Yep.
Yes.
und hab mir dann gedacht,
I tell your
And then I
version.
thought,
im Nachhinein ja den Tobi fragen.
afterwards, I can ask him, why did you do that?
So I thought, first the cookie's great. It tastes good. And I waited so long. And I thought if he can't do it fast enough, then it's not his, I can't help him anymore.
Entweder war er Einzelkind, dann
Either he was a single child in his family, he needs to learn to get faster in life. And I waited for him. And I have a lot of respect for the fact that you didn't kick me. But the look she gave me, you said, you looked at me very shortly. If I would do it as a comic figure, you would have 2 lasers in your eyes that just decimated me. It was a lot better than it used to be. I don't want to belittle it.
You realize the point is very important to me, and I'm on my way, and I
true.
really am better.
And my legs, thank you.
Auf jeden Fall, der Punkt war ja,
The point is, I let you be who you are and cheer you on.
meine ich mit, ich
What do I mean by cheering you on? We work together,
und es gibt immer wieder
and there's always something to find, to be annoyed at. There's a hair in the soup. I could have said it differently, or you could have said it differently in the meeting. And there was something that happened a couple of years ago. We were at ICF Neuraum, and the sermon was over,
so eine Ladies
and a ladies group came along. They were visiting our church. They only knew us from online. They were traveling and passing through. They were standing around Toby, like a fan club. And I thought, I watched them from the side. They admired him so much. It was really strange. And then I realized, wow, that's what they do. That's actually my job. And then, since that moment, I decided I want to be your biggest fan. I want to cheer you on. And I want you to feel seen and
You do
loved
that
by
really
me.
well, honey. Number
Point
8. We called it Sex is Glue. We've heard a lot about it already, but it's still important, you know. Sexuality is either disregarded or it's not built into a culture.
Yeah, that's why we realized our sexuality is like a see-through ribbon that connects us. And Susanna mentioned it earlier on. That's how I experience it. It's a huge gift to unite myself with you to be one. And I heard a woman once, she said her husband was very busy and very traveling internationally. I need to share my husband with so many people who want something from him because he's so busy. And if I have sex with him, then he's only mine. And I liked it. It was so beautiful. That's what it is. I want to read what intimity means. Closeness means the highest intimacy you can have. Kiss and hugs give security and warmth. That's the most beautiful that can be in life, that we can be close, that we're one. And that's why it's a topic we're always work on it and develop further. Just want to learn with it. Earlier, when we were married fresh, before marriage, I was really excited about sex. Then in between, it was more a burden. And then we worked on it, and now I realize it's just a gift.
The 9th item, we want to get old together.
Das ist auch wieder mein Punkt. Ja. Du hast gerade, okay.
That's my point.
That's my point again, so I just
We'll
can't say
grow old
something.
together.
So we will grow old together. I'm struggling in the meantime with different changes with us. Toby, he has not that much hair anymore like he used to.
You mean here?
Yeah,
There's
different
other places in my
areas.
body that have more hair than they used to. Nose, my eyebrows. We don't want to have a one-sided view. There's other areas in my life, there's growth.
That's true. That's true.
Auch eine Veränderung.
That's also a change. That's interesting.
Und ich merke,
And I realize
ich rutsche einfach in der Mitte irgendwie ein bisschen.
in the middle, I get more. My skin is not that elastic anymore. My hair is turning gray. Things are changing.
Bei meinen Eltern
And with my parents, since 20 years, a postcard in the bathroom that I always see it when I am in the bathroom, and it says, let's grow together like stone old. If I see that, and if I see them, if I see you, mom and dad, then it's something like, what a beauty if you can grow old together. And if you know that I stay with you no matter how much hair you have, and you stay with me, and you focus on me no matter how I change. Biblically seen, it's not important whether we're remain crunchy or whether we bear fruit. That's in Psalm 92. Whoever loves God is like a tree planted in the forecourt of the temple, where it can grow and flourish. Even in old age, it will still bear fruit, always powerful and fresh. And if we grow old, I just realized it. Love is not a feeling, it's a decision. And that's why I love it, to grow old and get more ripe.
Just me as well. The last point, a wise woman, like my mother-in-law. I have chosen you, and that will stay that way. This fundamental decision was important for me to adopt this decision for myself. At the beginning of our marriage, some crises, I thought, maybe there are other options. Maybe I need to, look at other, choices. But then at one point, I met a point where I said I had made the decision. I make this decision, and I stick with the decision. And now I'd like to provoke you. And I want to say it's not normal to constantly want someone else. That's not normal. The world will tell you that's normal, and I tell you it's not normal. It's an early warning system. You can fall in love, several times in your life. Because if you don't feel perceived, you don't feel loved, if you don't feel, if you're feeling bad, you're sick, and then you're looking for things, you have yearnings somewhere else, and you go to other locations, other places, and looking for satisfaction. For example, pornography, If you're in a crisis with your partner, then you'll go back to an old method like pornography. Same thing can happen. If you're not doing well and you don't treat yourself well, that your soul start looking for another partner. Another partner would be the solution. No, the partner's not going to be the solution, no. Yeah, everybody's normal until you get to know them. It's just projection. And you could fall in love several times. You could bring your child to the kindergarten, and you see another mama, and then you find her totally attractive. That is an early warning system. You have to ask God, why is my soul feeling this way? Why is my marriage not doing well? What do you want to tell me, Lord? How do you want to encounter us? And how can you help us to grow? Revelation 2, verse 4. But I have one thing to criticize about you, but there's not much left of your initial love. Do you remember the dedication with which you once began? What has remained of it? Turn back and act as you did at the beginning. The interesting thing is that it's about proactively doing something. Love is a decision, and it's normal to have this impulse to be not normal, to have the impulse to not go that way, but my reaction is core. With our children, we know that love is a decision. We didn't think about whether we, who feels so full of love, to get up out of bed. I don't feel anything. I will just stay in bed. Let the kid scream, and the baby's, crapped his diapers full. So who feels he wants to take away the crap, right? Clean up this. Yeah, I don't feel like it. You don't feel like it. Okay, good. You see, it's a decision, not a feeling. Love is not with a child, it's obvious. In our marriage, we forget it. We can decide to pray together, even though I don't feel like it. I can decide to read the Bible, even though I don't feel like it. I can decide to be transparent in my life, even though I hate it. Renee was here last weekend. For us, the two of us, when we see each other, that we're very, very honest to each other. As soon as there's something in our life, we go straight to the cross and we confess it. That's normal. It's our culture to bring things to the cross, but that's a decision. It's a you have to overcome your inhibition. But God wants us to come back and back again and again to rediscover love, and He's the one who will protect you from your partner, but who also reconnects you to your partner. Everything else will bring you away from your partner, and the faster you get away from God. And so at the end of the amore experience, we'd like to, with all these ideas and impulses, after the next song, we can renew our wedding vows together if you'd like. We put these rings on. I don't know if we put these years on many years ago or just shortly. With God, the help of God, we went this step. And the Bible says it's not about how we begin. It's about making a daily decision for it again. It's not about how you got married, whether it was in Las Vegas or at a castle. It doesn't matter if your marriage proposal is on social media or not, or if you did really bad in the back courtyard, like me. That's not decisive. What's decisive is the daily decision to stay loyal, the daily decision to stay with you. And let's do that later on, Frauke. You and I, we did it in between fundamentally.
After 7 or 8 years, we thought we gonna get a new marriage ring, like a new symbol for a new decision. Like Toby meant, the other one was too small and is not impressive and isn't enough.
That's true.
On his hand.
So let's sing a worship song now and pray that God will, that God can access our hearts, and we want to do it, and ourselves and everybody is invited to participate as well. Renew our vows and put the rings back on. I want to thank you for this moment, Father God. You know how we feel, how we're doing. You know where our feelings are. We thank you for speaking to us in the next songs, that we can decide daily anew. You say whoever is acting on the first love, the feelings will follow. But help us to make the decision and act for and decide for each other. Let's use the time now. We want to have our view to the Savior. And if you want to, take the hand of your partner and first exchange the ring. The ring is a symbol of our heart decision in our hearts. A symbol that makes us conscious to us that it's a commitment, a covenant that we entered. We say yes with God's help, what we said in front of the altar. We want to make this conscious decision again. We want to make a new decision for you. Every day I make a decision for you. And I say yes with God's help. The symbol of the ring, because it's a circle. It's a closed circle, and it's a protectionary circle. Between the two of us, a man and woman, a new family will begin. And that's our protection, our protectionary border. We men, we want to go first, take the right hand of our wife. And we'll put the ring on her finger in just a second, and we make a new decision for her with God's help. And now the ladies can put the ring on the man's finger
das Ganze mit Gottes Hilfe.
and make the decision new with God's help.
Jetzt könnt ihr euch mal die Hand reichen, wo ihr gerade den Ring
So
angesteckt habt.
where you can connect your hands where you have the rings.
Was Gott zusammengefügt hat.
And I want to say to you again, what God has put together, man shall not separate.
Braut jetzt küssen.
And now you may kiss the bride.
Und Jesus, wir stehen jetzt hier
And Jesus, we stand here now as a married couple here in the room, online. And I invite you to take the hand of your partner, and I invite you to sing the song from now on, Only Jesus, as the song will say. We want to put our marriage on the fundament of Jesus. With His help, everything is possible. We put up the cross and build the triangle with Him. We need this protectionary space from you. We need the connection that you give us. Let us pray together and proclaim over our life that, Jesus, you are the foundation. Today, from today on, I would decide to take my place as a man or my wife as a woman, and we proclaim that over our lives.